I'm Bhavidhir V. Bharadwaj. Welcome to another episode of Genesis of Tomorrow. The following is going to be another one of my solo podcasts. And the particular matter that I want to cater to with this specific episode is the hype around quantum technology. Most of you who keep up with the news and workings of the domain of science and technology, and specifically quantum tech, will be aware that there is this discussion and debate going on in regard to the morality or ethical consideration about the quantum bubble, the bubble of the quantum hype. And there are certain good points in with both sides of the argument, so to say. I, for one, was prompted to make this particular episode to just try at being able to provide or facilitate a well rounded perspective in regards to the matter. And you'll find umpteen people who are discussing the ethics of or the scientific integrity of researchers at fueling the quantum hype, the role of industry and businesses, a lot of statistics being thrown around. But what is seminal and paramount to understand in this entire matter is, for one, that this hype around quantum technology that we are witnessing currently is not a novel phenomena as far as hypes go. The same thing was with artificial intelligence. AI has been hyped for well over half a century, almost a century, if not more, in works of fiction and subsequently works of scientific study and endeavors. And it has just recently been able to reach a state and advancement where it's applicable to the extent that it is. Having said that, the extent to which it holds the sheer potential to revolutionize each and every aspect of your individual and societal living is a matter of null concealment. And it is apparent to the large degree that technology like artificial intelligence is only going to be bolstered further into becoming in becoming an integral aspect of all of our lives and existence at large. Where does that leave us in this discussion about the quantum hype? Is it an early stage in regards to the advancement in quantum technology, it's in its nascent stages. Sure. Is quantum technology and its potential applications and areas of implementations being boasted out of proportion? Maybe, maybe not. Are the large amount of areas of implementation away from completely realizing quantum technology? I mean, certainly so. They aren't happening tomorrow or the day after. That means quantum technology is a toddler right now. The last toddler, artificial intelligence, took well over 100 years to become a full functioning, prolific adult that would contribute to humanity and society. This toddler, however, has got a parent that they themselves is at a stage in their development where they can make sure that this child, quantum technology, does not take 100 years to mature to the stage where they are, being artificial intelligence. Now, you might think I have thrown around different strands, and I have to a certain degree, but all of it ties and converges into a singular aspect that I am willing, that I am seeking to convey right now, which is that even though the hype around quantum technology is a little out of proportion, is blown a little out of proportion, it is justifiable in being blown out of proportion in a similar fashion to how artificial intelligence disrupted the global demographic in regards to several fields. Quantum technology possesses the same genetic coding, so to speak, in its nature inherently, that saying anything otherwise would be highly undermining the apparent and visible sheer potential that this area of research and development holds. Now let's come to the business side of things. The exponential growth in stocks related to quantum, they are a byproduct of the hype, certainly. Who is to blame? Nobody's to blame per se. If I am an investor and I am putting my money consciously in a specific venture, that investment becomes my responsibility. If I am putting my money in a venture without being thorough and knowing the ins and outs of it, and even if not that, then knowing the general idea of what it is, the outcome will be my responsibility. Now, there are there is a school of brings about the discussion of scientific integrity in this matter, and Dr. Sabine talks about it in her video, her verbatim, in regard to this particular matter of discussion. I feel that as a researcher, my job is to be correct in the information that I'm providing. Are there ethical responsibilities? There certainly are. But those ethical responsibilities, and not even more so this matter of scientific integrity, that barometer varies with the kind of field of development or study that I am in, I am a researcher in, or I am working in. A scientist working in drug discovery inherently has got more at stake, and hence more ethical and moral responsibility than somebody working in the domain of quantum technology. I'm not talking about the intersection of fields here. I'm talking about as a general example to just put things into perspective a little. And if, as the result of my work in a certain domain which I've spent my entire life studying, the domain which essentially can be summed up as my life's work, if as a resultant to that, a billionaire decides to invest his money into ventures that are working in that domain, I do not think that I should be held responsible if the return on investment does not bear fruition in 2 years instead of 10. The matter is not of scientific integrity here. The matter is of literacy. Financial literacy, sure, but more so scientific literacy. People have to wake up to the fact that we are living in a world that is moving at a pace that if we do not keep up with, we'll be walked all over. And there might be a humongous chance that we might not ever be able to then match the pace that the world is moving at. And this this cadence that I speak of is invariably and inevitably only and ever going to increase in its tenure. My responsibility as a citizen, as a global citizen, as a human, and as a person who is to any degree related to the scientific community, which everybody is, each and every single of each and every single one of us is related to the scientific community regardless of our personal backgrounds. My responsibility is to make sure I'm literate enough in these advancements and workings of the world that essentially define existence at large. That is why you should be literate in science. People miss that big time. It is your moral and ethical responsibility as an individual living in a society, being a human, to make sure that you are in touch with the scientific language, fluent in the scientific language. And you do not need the PhD in mathematics or physics for that. The scientific integrity, it extends not only to researchers, to founders and CEOs and business leaders, politicians and political leaders, but each and every single one of us. And essentially, the crux of that entire rant is that invest your money, being thorough with what that particular investment will entail. Do not have false expectations. And it isn't a third party who's writing about this particular venture. It's not their responsibility to give me consultation of whether I should invest my money in that venture or not. It's their responsibility to make sure that they are honest and correct in the information, in the kind of information that they are relaying forward. Should you invest money in quantum? Sure. I personally am of the opinion that quantum technology is going to materialize into something crucial in the next decade. 3 to 5 years plus, 2 3 years minus. Could it take more? Maybe. Could it take less? Chances are, chances are, chances are infinitesimally small, but never say never. Is it good into getting into the quantum domain? It is. It is. I'm of the belief that being a pessimist in the short term and an optimist in the long term is far better than being an optimist in the short term and a pessimist in the long term. So, well, make sure you're treading the waters carefully, but do tread the waters. Try to take that dive in. It will be worth it. Thank you so very much for joining in and take care.